I'm from Quebec. I'm a senior network engineer in computer science. I'm an activist and an advocate for people with disabilities. I have a form of muscular dystrophy and I had a disability all my life. I'm appearing before you from what I consider my medical prison cell, a long-term care facility in Quebec. I oppose Bill C7 because death with dignity doesn't exist without life with dignity. I'm 44 years old, and just like Jean Trouchon, I'm forced to live here because there is no proper support to live in the community. For 10 years now, I've been fighting to get out of here and regain my freedom and open a path to community living for everyone because living in the community is a human right. Before being trapped into the institutional system, I had a good life. I was successful. In 2010, following a severe pneumonia, I ended up in intensive care. I was given an emergency tracheostomy to help me breathe with the assistance of a ventilator. It was explained to me that now someone had to be with me 24 hours a day in case I needed assistance. Unable to speak, several doctors pressured me to accept euthanasia, comfort care as they call it, to end my life. I never asked for this. I spent the next few weeks thinking and crying my eyes out. My life is really over. The thought had never crossed my mind. I was getting better, but losing control over my life, being completely dependent on others, and becoming a burden to my loved ones was unbearable for me. There are no support services to live outside of hospitals. I had to choose between killing myself or live in a hospital for the rest of my life. I was never offered the choice to continue my life at home with the required assistance. I wasn't ready to abandon my partner, my family, and my friends. I signaled my refusal to be euthanized. I was prepared to do anything to get out of this medical hell. But just like Jean Trouchon, I was denied the home care support that I needed. I complained to the highest instances. I was told that it was a political issue, as living in the community with the necessary support is not a right in Canada. After 2.5 years in the hospital, I ended up in a long-term care facility. This place is a medical prison. You no longer have choice and control over your life. Your love life, it's over. You can't live with your partner. Your private life, forget it. A record is kept on your every move. You are now the property of the government. Now it is managers, civil servants, nurses, and others who will decide how you will live. You are too independent to their taste, they will break you. You have to submit to their rules. You have to be a good, kind, obedient, grateful little cripple. I gave up and sank into depression. I was ashamed to live in this ghetto. Without humanity and freedom, life no longer has any meaning. I regretted having refused euthanasia. I simply wanted to live with my partner, work, and have a normal social life. I wanted to die. I was Jean Trouchon. I discovered that about 70% of people with severe disabilities live in institutions in Quebec. The others cling to living at home, but often find themselves also isolated. Many have committed suicide or have accepted euthanasia to avoid suffering my fate. My disability is not the cause of my suffering, but rather the lack of adequate support, accessibility, and the discrimination I endure every day. As a last resort, I occupied a space in a cage in front of the National Assembly in Quebec for 5 days and 5 nights to protest my incarceration and to implement community living solutions. Why is it so hard to be seen and heard when we want to live? Suicide prevention is offered to people without disabilities, but I deserve assisted suicide. I've been told before, if you're not satisfied with what you're being offered, why not accept euthanasia? My life is worth living. I want to be free. I don't trust the government, politicians, civil servants, and doctors to tell me what I can and cannot do in my life or how my death should unfold. I'm an unlikely survivor. Senators, you must end this bill or remove the special circumtract. There can be no death with dignity and freedom of choice as long as we are forced to live in institutions made to feel like burdens while we face discrimination and systemic violence at all levels. Thank you.